Hello, Ellie here with my sidekick, Davy, and today I am talking about the second book in the Thousandth Floor series, The Dazzling Heights. This is only the second time in my booktube career that I am talking about the sequel to another book that I talked about on booktube. If you have not already watched my Thousandth Floor video, or if you have not read the Thousandth Floor yet, go check that out first, because anything I say about this book will be a spoiler for that one. I'm going to talk about that one for just a second first. The Thousandth Floor by Katharine McGee is about 5 people that live in New York, and New York City has kind of become just one giant tower that's 1,000 floors high and miles thick, and it gets thinner as it goes up, and the richer you are, the higher you are on the floor. So this is in the tower. So this one follows 2 people that live lower in the tower and 3 people that live higher in the tower for the most part, including one character that actually lives on the very top floor. And it's full of drama, and if you want to know more, definitely check out my other video because I go a lot more in depth in that one. If you haven't read this one, go watch my other video first, alright? I have a link below. Alright, I'm getting into spoilers from the Thousandth Floor, so hopefully if you haven't read that one yet, you are not here anymore. I'm not quite getting into spoilers for The Dazzling Heights yet. I actually rewatched my video for The Thousandth Floor right before I started this book because I remembered a lot of it, but I just remembered having so many little things that just threw me off and had me needing to keep read, so I just wanted to give myself a little bit of a refresher about what it was and what happened, and it was so intense. Assuming you've read The Thousandth Floor, which hopefully you're not watching this video if you haven't, you know that it ends with a death. That kind of blows everybody's story up. The Dazzling Heights kicks off with everybody kind of surviving in the aftermath of what happened to Eris at the end of The Thousandth Floor, and everyone is kind of dealing with it or not dealing with it in their own way. Avery is really leaning on Atlas, and Lita is kind of losing it, as is expected, but still threatening everybody to make sure that the truth stays quiet. Rylan keeps watching the obituary video over and over again, and Watt has kind of shut everything down and is living a normal life, trying not to be a hacker anymore. But that can only last so long. So in this one, they kind of all come back together. Rylan ends up going to school up where everybody else goes, so she's gonna see Cole all the time. Lita gets freaked out, obviously, and pulls Watt back in to watch everything again. As this book goes, some of the dynamics might change. Oh, and there's a new girl named Calliope, who's a con artist, who comes in to blow everybody away even more. And then, of course, there's somebody watching everything from afar. I really liked it. I don't think I liked it quite as much as the first one, partly because that one I was living for all of the drama and the surprises. This one was a little bit more frustrating just because of where everybody was in their storylines, which makes sense. And I mean frustrating in a good way. I mean, the characters weren't doing what I wanted them to do, but that was kind of a good thing because there's another book coming, and I assume that's when I'm gonna start to see them doing what I want them to do. I really liked it. It was still full of twists and turns. I think this one was a little bit more predictable than the first one, but still really good. Read it. There is a death at the end again, but that's all I'm gonna say. Like the first one, you find out about it on the first page. It starts with, and somebody's died, but we don't know who it is. And you're not going to find out for 400 pages. But it was really good. Definitely read it. And if you have already read it, stick around. If you have not, go ahead and read it and then come back. Okay? Okay, bye. Alright. Hopefully if you are still here, you have read The Dazzling Heights and are ready to talk about it. I took some notes while I was reading this one. I'm so excited. Okay, so the first thing I noticed, if you watched my Thousandth Floor video, one of the predictions I made was that we are going to be following Marielle in this book. When I got to the first chapter, I was like, hey, I was right. Turns out I wasn't fully right, but we did get to see her perspective a little bit. I will most definitely get back to her later. Rylan is put in school with Cord and Lena and Avery and all of them, And Wat finds out about this and is immediately like, let's put her in all of Lita's classes to really get on Lita's nerves. And I was like, that's kind of funny, but poor Rylan. And then I was like, I wonder if Cord is going to be in a bunch of Lita's classes as well. He was. Well, we only actually saw the one class, but I guess that's the one that mattered. Almost as soon as we meet that teacher, I think his name is pronounced Shane or Zane, because at first Rylan thinks that Lita is saying Shane, S-H-A-N-E, and then realized that she's saying the teacher's first name. So I guess it's pronounced Shane, or I think I'm going to call it Jane. Anyway, from pretty much the moment we meet Jane, I was like, there's gonna be an awkward teacher-student relationship with this guy, because it's just gonna happen. And then Cord is gonna be all protective and awesome, and that's how they're kind of gonna work their way back together. And I was half right. Well, I was mostly right, because once she does start getting close with Jane, Cord is like, there's something weird going on there, and you probably shouldn't go. And she's like, oh no, it's fine. I'm just gonna go to LA with him and work for him, and it's gonna be great. And then he kisses her, and then she's like, that wasn't so great, and now I'm sad. And Cord was right. He got protective of her in that he warned her, but he wasn't all like, you stay away from her, or I'm gonna go to the principal type of protective of her, which is kind of what I was expecting. Who knows, I guess that could still happen in the next one, maybe? I don't know, I guess we'll find out. I quoted the line from the book when we were in Calliope's head. It was, she'd wanted Atlas from the first moment she saw him. And I just said, join the club, girl. Avery's in love with him, Lita thought she was in love with him, everybody's in love with Atlas. Get in line. There's a really long line. If you watched my 1000th floor video, you could tell I was obsessed with Avery and Atlas. That was where my heart went. I adored them. I was in so much pain reading this book, because they start out together and adorable, but then it all just comes crashing down. But they still love each other, but they're not letting themselves be together. So the first one was all about this confusion about them both loving each other but not realizing that the other one feels the same way and trying to hide their feelings because, number one, they shouldn't love each other, and number two, they think they're just going to scare the other one away. In this one, they've accepted that they love each other, they're being together, and then they realize that it's just too hard, and they have to force themselves to separate and be apart. Gosh, that hurt. Every single time either of them even looked at somebody else, they knew they were hurting the other one. And, oh my gosh, I couldn't handle it. I kind of wish we had been in Atlas's head at some point, because I'm wondering, when Calliope saw Atlas storm away and followed him, and he seems like upset, I'm wondering if it was just their conversation that made him upset, or if he had seen Avery go over and start flirting with Cord already. So I'm curious where his head was at the point that he went in that elevator with Calliope. I'm so glad that nothing ever actually happened with either of them and either of the people. Like, they both kissed the other person drunkenly, but that was the extent of either of the relationships with other people, which I was so happy with, because I love that couple so much, and I'm not giving up on it yet. Atlas decides to take this job in Dubai, which we're pretty sure the dad only offered to him because he knows that there's something going on there. And my thought is like, okay, if he already knows that something's going on, obviously he's not okay with it. But part of me is like, why can't they just say, listen, this is what happened. We've both tried to stop. That's why Atlas left. It didn't help either of them for him to be away. So what we want to do is leave together and live somewhere away as a couple, pretending that we're not adopted brother and sister and we're just a couple. Live somewhere away from you, away from the people that know you, and then you can come visit us and we'll still be a family. I don't know. And then when Atlas was kind of going off at the end and saying that's not the life that she would want, I'm like, oh, you're right, but I don't want you to be right because I just want you two to be together because I love you so much. I don't know how that one's gonna work out. It's going to work out though. Like the two of them will be together in the end because they have to be. I don't know, maybe people will just be like, alright, that's weird, but at least they're not really siblings, so whatever. They could be like the Cullens! Now the Fullers can just start adopting all of these people that will end up being couples, and it'll be like the Cullens, except without vampires. There we go, I fixed it, I figured it out, woohoo! No. No, I didn't think so. I'm gonna talk about Lita. So Lita starts off this book still kind of evil and manipulative, making enemies out of everybody. But then about halfway through the book, she suddenly starts to change. And it is kind of from her relationship with Watt, where their relationship is going from just purely hating each other and using each other into this frenemy situation where they still don't like each other, but they're starting to trust each other, and then they start to actually have feelings for each other. And as this development happens, Lita is becoming a softer, but overall stronger person as well, where she's confronting some of her demons from the past. She is realizing that she doesn't have to be enemies with these people, and there's another way to approach it. She makes amends with Avery, and she's working to help Rylan. And as all of this is happening, my heart is just like, yay, yay, this is great. But then a part of me was like, oh snap, she's gonna die. She was the one in a really good place now, because Rylan and Cord still weren't together. That didn't get like anywhere in this book. Avery and Atlas had started out good and then fallen apart. Meanwhile, she's fixing all of her relationships with these people. And I'm like, wait, but no, happiness is bad in a book where you know somebody dies. Happiness is bad. I was actually slightly relieved when she and Watt had that issue where she realized that he had been recording the conversation, because I'm like, wait, but if she's not in a good place, maybe she won't die. And then they go to the water, and I'm remembering the beginning of the book when it said that somebody was found floating in water, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then Watt finds out that she was seen passed out by the beach. And I remembered back and I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure they said they weren't going to find the body for hours. So I'm like, wait, Watt's on his way there right now. She can't have been there for more than 1 hour. And he's about to find her, or at least call somebody to find her. So I guess she can't be the one that dies. And then they find her. Let me go back for a second. So Marielle. I like that we got to see that last glimpse from her point of view, to see that she was not trying to kill Lita. She was drugging her and leaving her there, and she wanted her to get picked up and brought to the police. And I don't quite understand why she was putting her so close to the water then, as that could have happened anywhere, except to scare Lita. Well, I know why Katharine McGee had her put her so close to the water, but from Marielle's perspective, I don't understand why she went so close to the water. Maybe so they'd find her and be like, you were so drugged out you almost died. So they find Lita, and she had spilled all of her guts to Marielle, all of the secrets, because she had used this like truce drug. And now they're like, all right, well, we need to do something about this. And then they're like, okay, so she was going as far as to leave Lita for dead, so clearly she needs to die. I get that you four were around when somebody died in the past, but this entire book was kind of about how that was an accident and how terrible it was. Now you're talking about purposely killing somebody? Are you serious? And then there's that last scene where she goes into a dark room and gets hit multiple times and then is dead. Were all four of them there? Was just one of them there? Was it even them? Oh my gosh. So either they're murderers now, or there's something completely else happening. But it sounded like they had resigned themselves to murdering, and then she died. Did like Nadia mess with the weather to put her in there? I'm freaking out. Meanwhile, Calliope's sticking around because she saw Atlas and Avery and now has something on them, and is like, well, I ain't leaving. So in the next book, she's gonna take on the Lita role, where she's just blackmailing everyone and trying to rule the world and making everybody scared of her. And meanwhile, they're gonna have a secret that another person is dead and her blood is on their hands. I think that's just about it. I will say I was a little bit disappointed with the lack of any storyline really between Violet and Cord. There was like a tiny bit, but not a lot. There was that whole teacher thing going on that kind of messed with that. I'm expecting to go back to that in the next one because we know that they both still really care about each other. And I assume we're going to find out pretty quickly in the next one that Avery and Cord aren't together and don't care about each other in that way. And I was kind of liking Cynthia, so I was kind of upset that Watt and Cynthia didn't have a thing, but it seems like Lita and him are actually really good for each other, which is weird, but true. I'm really excited for the last one, which I'm gonna wait a whole year for. That's it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking up here, and I will talk to you next time. Goodbye! They're so pretty! Hey, Ellie and Dobby here. Like the video? Come subscribe. Do it right now. Click it.